All right, so coronary artery disease, which means what again, Daniel? What does it mean in general?
Heart attack.
It means what?
Heart attack.
So coronary
Fat
artery
in the
disease.
vessels.
Well, this is coronary artery disease leads to a heart attack, but it means we have what in our vessels?
Fat.
We have fat, right? We have fat in our vessels, and that fat comes from what? From having too much sugar, right? So from eating all those snacks. So when you eat carbs, chips, sugar, candy, that turns into fat because we're bringing in sugar that we don't need, and we're converting those carbs into sugar. And then when we have too much sugar, it turns into fat, and the fat gets stuck inside our vessels. All right, that's called coronary artery disease. Okay, that leads to what's called acute coronary syndrome. All right, that's pretty much a heart attack. So anytime you see a heart attack in the medical world, in the medical field, it's called myocardial infarction or acute coronary syndrome. Same thing. Acute coronary syndrome by itself, just this word, that means that we have a partial obstruction. So it's not a complete obstruction. So let's say it's still a heart attack though. So right here, this is happening with the heart attack. That means that we have so much obstruction, so much fat, that almost no blood is getting through. This right here would actually be a complete heart attack. So acute coronary syndrome by itself means that we have an obstruction, whether it's partial or it's complete, but there's an obstruction. And then a myocardial infarction by itself means now it's a complete obstruction no matter what. So that's a heart attack, that's a true heart attack. All right, so heart attack means that there's a complete obstruction. So if these vessels are feeding the heart and I have an obstruction right here, that's ACS or myocardial infarction, heart attack, all the same thing. That means that this part of the heart is not getting fed, so it starts to die off. All right, so that part of the heart is literally dying right now. And once it's dead, it's dead. So that's the tie-in for this lecture, is mainly going over how diabetes, having too much sugar in your bloodstream from your diet, can turn into coronary artery disease. And this just really means that you have fat in your system. You have fat in your vessels. So let's go to this. So coronary artery disease, again, that fat, that's a good vessel, that's like a river without anything in it. This is like a river with gunk in it. This is like a river with a dam in it, with shutting off. Back in the day, if you wanted to kill off a civilization, all you would do is put a dam in a river, you cut off the flow of river, and you cut off any supply. What's gonna happen to that section? The whole community is gonna start dying off. That's exactly what's going on with this, all right? You're cutting off the supply of oxygen and nutrients, therefore you're gonna kill that section of the heart. And if you kill one section of the heart pumps the blood around the body, potentially you're gonna kill the whole body. See how it all ties in? Same thing. All right, so CAD has many different names. I'm going back to this because this is important. So coronary artery disease, simply meaning we have fat in our vessels, is also known as atherosclerosis, high cholesterol. It's the same exact thing. They just name it differently. I don't know why, maybe because they want to confuse us. That's all I can think of. It's like laws have different names for the same thing. Medical is the exact same thing. There's different names for the same thing, okay? So don't get it twisted. Hypertension means high blood pressure. So if grandma or grandpa says, hey, I have hypertension, Jojo, you ever seen a water hose? Anybody mess with the water hose?
Yeah.
Put the thumb in the front. What happens when you put your thumb in the front of a water hose that has water running?
It's gonna squirt out more.
It's gonna squirt out more, right? Shh, go out faster, cool. So same thing over here. Jojo, listen up. So the same thing over here. So if I'm putting, imagine this is a regular water hose, right, with a string, right? And now I'm putting pockets of fat. So these pockets of fat are like the thumb on the tip of the water hose. That's gonna make the blood go a lot faster, right? That's hypertension, that's high blood pressure. So the hypertension is actually a symptom of the atherosclerosis, of the high cholesterol, of the CAD, because it's all the same thing. And this is the symptom of all these, because these are all the same, all right? Now with that being said, check this out. This stop? No, oh, check this out. You ever got cut? Diana? You got cut?
Huh?
You ever got cut?
I got a cut?
Have you ever got cut? It's a question. All right, what happens to that cut?
It bleeds.
After it's done bleeding, what happens? After you're done crying and bleeding?
It heals.
It heals, right? What is that? When it heals, what is that called? It's called a scab, right? All right, it's called a scab. So with that being said, this fat This fat, right? Oh, this is what causes all that stuff. Not the meat. Meats are actually good for you, for the most part. So what actually causes a heart attack is that whenever you have these, after a while, you have these pockets of fat. So imagine you're in a water hose that has pockets of fat, and the fat itself is causing the blood to go fast, right? Hypertension, right? The thumb. Well, fat is what? Fat is mushy, right? Fat is soft. So if you have all this blood rushing and the fat itself is making the pressure, chunks of fat are going to come off the wall and move. Well, when those chunks come off, your body sees that as a cut. That fat has been on the vessels for so long that your body doesn't know if it's actually part of the body or not anymore. Okay? So it's going to just assume that when that chunk comes off, it's a cut. So the things that make your scab are called platelets. So those platelets are going to get activated. All right? So what happens is when that chunk comes off, right? That chunk comes off, it rips off. Now all these platelets are going to start to bunch up like this. So like this is the fat, so this is the vessel. Jojo, so this is physically showing you. This is physically showing you a vessel, and it's physically showing you how heart attack is happening. So this is the vessel, right? This is the fat, and the pressure is going. So if a chunk comes off of here, your platelets that make the scab to protect you are going to start to scab up and bunch up. These are actually the platelets that are starting to clunk up. And then there's also clotting factors, and they activate each other. All right, so you have this scab that's forming in this little bitty vessel that feeds your heart. And that's what the actual obstruction is. The actual issue is your body trying to help the body out, not realizing that it's not even a problem. It's just part of fat. The fat actually needs to go away, but it's trying to cover up something. Okay, so that's the issue. So physically happening is that your body sees this, the fat that got chunked off from the speed, from the hypertension, as a wound. Your platelets start to bunch up, and it starts to cover up what shouldn't be covered up. And because of the platelets making the scab, now we're causing the dam, the cutoff of the blood flow that's going to kill that part of the heart and eventually kill the whole body. The whole body, it's a heart attack, will kill you, right? All right, so again, heart attack means a complete obstruction of the vessels, right? Because the fat, platelets activate, it forms up. So myocardial infarction, myo just means muscle, cardio means heart, infarction means death. So backwards it means death of heart muscle, because it's starting to die. All right? Acute coronary syndrome, it just means that we have a blockage. It could be a complete blockage or a partial blockage. Either way, the patient's gonna have pain. All right, so both patients are gonna have pain, regardless if it's partial or if it's complete. Okay? Diabetes, we know what's up with that, right? Sugar, fat, coronary arteries, all that stuff. So what does it mean? So in general, anybody here, what does CAD mean? Now, what does it stand for? It stands for coronary artery disease. But what does it mean? When you hear it, what does it mean? Like a symbol.
Heart attack.
Okay, it means that it can lead to a heart attack. But what caused that heart attack? What was in the vessels that caused the heart attack?
Sugar.
The sugar that was converted into what?
Fat.
Fat, exactly. You were dancing around it. But yeah, I got it. Okay. And then this is what physically happens during a heart attack. Right? So when this fat comes off, your body sees it as a wound, starts to try to make a scab, and the scab is cutting off the blood flow. It cuts off supply, like back in the day for human beings. All right? They still do it today. All right, so luckily for you guys, this is where you guys might want to listen up, so you guys can actually help grandma and grandpa. So if they're having a heart attack and you know what's going on, there is some medication in your house so you can give your grandma or grandpa that can actually save their life. So aspirin is one of them. So aspirin, besides taking away your headache, the platelets that make the scab, it takes away the stickiness, so you keep bleeding. In that case, it's bad. But in a heart attack, what's causing the issue is this. The issue is the platelets that are trying to make a scab over something that they shouldn't even make it a scab over, right? So if it's a partial obstruction, what it will do if you give them aspirin, as soon as the pain comes, it'll prevent it from growing into a full obstruction. So you're gonna save his or her life, because blood flow is gonna continue, all right? They'll be damaged, but it ain't gonna be complete. So that's what aspirin does for this person. It's gonna stop it in its tracks, all right? The other one, if they've already had a heart issue, give them nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin makes the vessels expand. So going back to this, so it'll make the vessels grow, and then blood can go around the issue. Because once the scab is formed, it's formed. All right, but it'll continue to grow. It'll make the vessel grow, and then that blood go around the obstruction. The other thing that I know is kind of hee ha ha, but it's real, is Viagra. So Viagra, Cialis, any of those erectile dysfunction medications, those medications, they were actually initially made as heart medications. So when they were actually making them in the lab, the purpose wasn't, sexual activity. The purpose was heart conditions. It was actually to help people that have heart attacks. However, the society that we're in, because money rules everything, unfortunately, there's more money in that direction. There's always more money in that direction if money's a thing. So because of that, they decided to go in that direction. But if you know your grandma or grandpa, like they take that stuff, or nobody knows about it, but everybody knows about it type of deal, give them this. Like if you know for sure, hey, I went to class and I'm pretty sure you're having a heart attack. I know there's stuff in the house. Like this, it ain't gonna kill them. It's not gonna kill them. All right, unless your blood pressure's down. But if it's like a fork in the road type of deal, there you go. All right, it's for educational purpose only. Any questions? All right, so that's it. So I'm gonna go this to the beginning, because then I can post this for the YouTube, and then I'm gonna stop at 4. Okay? All right. So again, this is a continuation of diabetes. So I have a diabetes, the one that I posted. You guys might have seen that. So diabetes means we have too much sugar in the system, and then that leads to coronary artery disease. So what is coronary artery disease? As I already kind of hit up on this, because I already went back. Atherosclerosis, high cholesterol, they're all the same thing. Okay, same exact thing, and they cause hypertension because the cholesterol, atherosclerosis, aka CAD, just simply means that we have fat in our system. Okay? Now, one thing that I didn't hit up on, and again, these foods, all these foods are what cause the issues. They cause hypertension. If you have a lot of sugar in your blood, have you guys seen syrup porn? Whenever you have a lot of sugar in your blood, it's like having syrup. So if that blood is circulating slow, like syrup, you're gonna be tired because blood is moving. So lethargic means tired. Stable angina, that means chest pain. That's that chest pain from heart issues. Varicose veins, you guys know what that's? You guys seen those before? Varicose veins are like little veins that you see popping up. You see them on a lot of legs, like the bluish, greenish. That's actually from having poor circulation. So and that's coming from the veins. The blood's going to go back to your heart, but because it's so thick sometimes, or the CAD, it's hard to push it back. So your veins start kind of branching off and making like growing roots in directions that it shouldn't even be going. And that's because it's so hard to go up. The pressure, it starts to going to go to the side and make varicose veins.
So when your veins pop out?
No, that's different. Varicose veins are like permanently, and you see them like almost like little. It's weird, like little roots growing. You see them on a lot of legs, mainly women have.
Like get them around their face.
Yeah, but those aren't varicose veins. I think you're talking about like the thick veins. No, these are like super tiny, and you can see them branching out. They're like purple, greenish, bluish, things like that. Okay. And then besides that, now the one thing that I do want to talk about, and I'll stop and I'll leave you guys alone after this, is that most usually on some people they'll have diabetes and then go into coronary artery disease, but sometimes they'll go straight into coronary artery disease. All right, they won't have diabetes, and usually that's genetics. So if a group of people or family they're known to have CAD but not diabetes, that most likely means that their ancestors already went through that and you've overcome it genetically, but you go straight into CAD. That means that your pancreas has just adjusted to a very bad diet that's subjected to you to, which we've all been through in America. That makes sense, right? All right, I'm gonna go right there. Cool. And that was actually longer than my last